If you ever thought of getting braces, you have to watch this video. First, the metal brackets are glued to the teeth. Then the glue is cleaned up and hardened by a light. The same is repeated for all teeth. Then the braces are put on through the brackets and secured by a rubber band. The pressure created by the braces slowly adjusts the position of the teeth. But how about the braces that go inside the mouth? Before I continue, can I ask you to consider hitting the follow button? I'm here every day with all kinds of fun science and health videos. So you can have braces with rubber bands, and you can also have braces hidden inside your mouth.
I'm gonna teach you 4 ways that you can hack your body. Number 1, if you have trouble falling asleep at night, just blink really fast for 60 seconds. This tricks your brain into thinking you're tired and you'll be out like a light. Number 2, if you want to get rid of acne, turn the water to cold at the end of your shower. The cold water will seal your pores and prevent bacteria and dirt from getting in them. Number 3, next time you get a mosquito bite, rub deodorant on it and it will get rid of the itchiness completely. Number 4, if you need to prevent a sneeze in public, press your tongue firmly against the back of your teeth like this.
Do you hate the sound of your own voice? What if I told you it's actually science that makes you think like that? An aversion to the sound of your voice has a name. It's called voice confrontation. And one reason could be that when you listen back to your voice in a voice recording, you're actually listening to it at a different frequency to when you listen to your own voice when you're speaking. That's because when we speak, we're listening to our own voice through the air, but also through our own body and our bones. Nice. And in a voice recording, the frequency will be higher, so you may not like your own voice at that higher frequency. But a 2013 study found that when people were rating the attractiveness of different voices that had been recorded, when their own voice had secretly been mixed into the selection of samples, people rated the voice higher when they didn't recognize it as their own. So if you don't like the sound of your own voice, you're a perfectly normal human, and you probably sound perfectly normal and nice.
This horrifying sleep experiment was conducted by a Russian scientist back in the late 1800s. If you're an animal lover, you might want to scroll on. That neuroscientist, Maria Manasena, had 10 puppies. They were fed by their mother, they had all of their needs met, except she kept them in a state of permanent insomnia by keeping them constantly active. She also had a second group of puppies that were allowed to sleep, but they were deprived of food. Devastatingly, within 4 to 5 days, all of the puppies in the sleep deprivation group had died. But the puppies who were deprived of food were able to survive for 25 days, and even after that, they were able to return them to good health. Now, that experiment was gruesome, horrific, and unethical. It was also the first evidence we had that sleep was just as important as nutrition in maintaining life. So if you're planning on working on your health in 2021, sleep is a really...
This incredible video shows our skin's ability to regenerate. The skin regeneration occurs in 4 distinct phases. The first phase is called hemostasis. The objective here is to stop the bleeding. The second phase removes debris and bacteria. In the third proliferative phase, the focus is to close the wound. And finally, in the maturation phase, the skin gains strength and flexibility, though it's only 80% as strong as before the injury. Share and follow if you loved it.
Octopuses emerged over 400 million years ago. They were the first intelligent beings on the planet. They still retain that intelligence up to date. Each octopus has a massive brain that consists of 500 million neurons. This allows them to solve puzzles, navigate simple mazes, and even recognize individual human faces. They also have a short-term memory that allows them to remember solutions to different mazes. Majority of their neurons are located in their arms, which do not only give them the ability to touch, but also to smell and even taste food. Yes, octopuses taste food using their tentacles. Octopuses have 10,000 more genes than humans. Some of these unique genes help them survive for millions of years. They have built-in mechanism for editing and directing their own genes. Octopuses are strong and can exert a force greater than their own body weight. They are the masters of camouflage, with the ability to change colors and squirt out a poison against their prey. It's illegal in Europe and the UK to conduct surgical procedures on octopuses without anesthesia. The human brain contains up to 100 billion neurons, which can form as many as 1 trillion connections. Each neuron can transmit 1,000 nerve impulses per second. Even though the brain represents only 2% of the body's weight, it still requires 20% of the body's energy to function. The human brain consists of 60% fat, which makes it the fattiest organ in the body. It can generate 10 to 23 watts of energy, which is enough to power an LED light bulb. The average brain generates around 50,000 thoughts per day, and conducts over 100,000 chemical reactions per second. The human brain contains around 644 kilometers of blood vessels. Every minute, up to 1,000 milliliters of blood flows through the brain. During early pregnancy, neurons develop at a rate of 250,000 per minute. So, use it and don't take it for granted.
You've got a totally normal hole in your eyelid that you wanted to scratch out the whole time, but wait until you find out where this hole goes. Pull your eyelid down and you're going to see this hole that's called the lacrimal punctum. On top of every eye, you have a tear gland. The tear gland produces tears to moisturize your eyes and keep the bacteria away. Yes, tears have enzymes that break down viral proteins. The tears come down from here into your eye and do their job. But these extra tears have to go somewhere, right? And yes, you guessed it right. They drain through your drainage system, which is the lacrimal punctum. That hole that you have in your eyelid. By the way, you have two of them. One over here and one over here. After these tears drain into the lacrimal sac, you'll be surprised where they go. Before I tell you, I want to ask you to maybe consider hitting the follow button because I'm here every day with all kinds of fun science and health videos. So after draining into the hole in your eyelid and going into the sac, the tears end up in your nasal cavity called the inferior meatus, which is right over here, and you end up swallowing them. And this is why when you cry, you feel the tears in your throat.
If you could travel at the speed of light without breaking down to your basic atoms, you'd be able to go around the Earth 7.5 times in a single second. Even though our Sun is a staggering 150 million kilometers away from Earth, it takes light just 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach here. The speed of light is measured in vacuum. Light travels at a speed of 299,792 kilometers per second. No object can travel faster than that in a vacuum. Light from the nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, requires 4.3 years to get here, which is why this star system is said to be 4.3 light years away. When astronomers study an object that lies a light year or more, they are seeing it the way it was when light left it, and not as it actually is in the present time. In this sense, everything we observe in the distant universe is history. When you look at the night sky and you gaze at the stars, you're basically seeing an old picture of the universe. Isn't that remarkable?
You're a surgeon working in a busy hospital. A 20-year-old man arrived after being stabbed in the abdomen. The blade has gone through his abdominal aorta and he needs emergency life-saving surgery now. You're about to consent the patient for the operation, but he swears at you and demands a white surgeon does the operation, not you. But you're the only surgeon in the hospital who can do this procedure. The only other white surgeon has just started training, he can't do it. And the next closest hospital is 4 hours away, he won't survive the journey. What do you do? Do you A, ignore the patient's wishes, put him under an anesthetic, do the operation to save his life? Or B, accept the patient's wishes, keep him comfortable and let him pass away? Or C, make the patient believe the junior surgeon who's white will be doing the procedure, and once the patient is asleep, do it yourself and save his life? Comment your answer and why and come back in 24 hours for my answer.
What does LSD do to your brain? Some pretty mad stuff, as it turns out. You see, most of our neural activity is concentrated in our default mode network. This is the part of the brain that's active when we rest or aren't really thinking. But scientists scanned subjects on LSD and found their brain activity separated, becoming less concentrated in the DMN and spreading out over the brain, which is what could cause the classic sensation of ego dissolution, a lack of sense of self, as well as heightened senses and visual hallucinations. Interestingly, Robin Carhart Harris of Imperial College London said that this unity of the brain on LSD was actually the brain functioning in a simpler way.
This is a crazy time-lapse of a fingernail growing across 1 year. The average fingernail grows 0.1 millimeters per day, which is around 3.47 millimeters a month. Men's fingernails grow slightly quicker than females' fingernails, and any white dots or black dots are trauma.